Difficult and painful as it is, we must walk on in the days ahead with an audacious faith in the future. And as we continue our charted course, we may gain consolation in the words so nobly left by that great black bard, who was also a great freedom fighter of yesterday, James Weldon Johnson. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the bright gleam of our bright star is cast. Let this affirmation be our ringing cry. It will give us the courage to face the uncertainties of the future.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it sound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
The cha-cha-cha's copyrighted? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I wonder if you'll join me in opening our service with this beautiful poem by Langston Hughes called I Dream a World. I dream a world where man, no other man will scorn.
Where love will bless the earth and peace its paths adorn.
I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way.
Where greed no longer saps the soul, nor avarice lights our day.
A world I dream where black or white, whatever race you be,
We'll share bounties of the earth, and every man is free.
where wretchedness will hang its head and joy like a pearl.
Attends the needs of all mankind, of such a dream.
My world, why don't we rise up in body or spirit, my friends, in this month we celebrate Black history and sing a beautiful spiritual song, which I'm going to talk about in my sermon today, Every Time I Feel the Spirit. Good morning, everyone. That's the way to start a service off, isn't it? This first Sunday in February. Welcome all of you. A special welcome on this Sunday morning, Faith United Church of Christ. Any visitors that we have with us, first-time visitors, return visitors in person here. We are so happy you're with us, as well as our online community. We are delighted for all who have tuned in to join us, and especially for any visitors that we have with us. A special welcome to you all. If you're visiting with us here in person, go ahead and sign our friendship book, which we keep in the gathering space. So we keep you apprised of all the happenings that we have going on here. We've got a big one that we happened yesterday to talk about in a little bit. And if you're online with us, just go ahead and send a note to office@faithucc.org, and we'll get you on our mailing list. Whew! Something happened here yesterday? We'll talk about that in a little bit here. Talk about that. It was yesterday at 3 o'clock, wasn't it? And I forgot, if you are online with us, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're on Facebook, go ahead and share, because that puts our services way, way out there, and that is good for us. So thanks for considering that. It's Black History Month, my friends. We are going to celebrate Black history all month long. You're going to hear some fantastic music, some hopefully intriguing sermons. We're going to explore some great lives and just celebrate Black history. And in a day and age when, Black history is kind of being whitewashed right now, right? Today, it's crazy. So we need to keep it alive in places like this. We're going to hear some readings throughout the month on this. I ordered banned books. That seems to be the new thing, right? Yeah. Everyone's banning books. So I went ahead and ordered a banned book, and we're going to order a lot of banned books for this church and keep them. So I ordered this book, banned book. You see it online there, called Woke. I know that term makes people curdle. Some people squirm in your seats. Woke. And it is an amazing book. Fran actually ordered a copy too. We ordered the same copy. The poems in here are fantastic. You know why this book is canceled in certain school districts in Texas? Because some parents labeled it terroristic. There's nothing terroristic in this book unless you believe in injustice and love injustice. So you're going to hear some great readings throughout the month, probably starting next week from this book. And maybe we'll do we should do a banned book of the week or something like that, you know? Because we love a good banned book. Yes, we do. So I hope you find this to be a meaningful Black History Month. Dunedin Cares. So I didn't know this. Every person that goes into Dunedin Cares gets a roll of toilet paper when they leave. That's a thing to do. I mean, how awesome is that? But that means they run low because the demand at Dunedin Cares has been so high lately, so they need toilet paper. It's been the theme of the last 2 years, hasn't it? So we decided, so Dunedin Care folks said, let's do a toilet paper challenge. So I wonder if you can all this week, and then maybe we'll make it this month, February, the Toilet Paper Challenge month. Let's see if we can put so much toilet paper in the gathering space you have to you have to build walls with it and walk around it until our Dunedin Cares team can get it all over there. So
just donate the extras you bought 2 years ago.
Yes, if you have you've got a big old supply of toilet paper from when we had the hoarding going on, just go ahead and dig into your stockpile, and let's help some folks out. So that's the toilet paper challenge. Words I never thought I would actually say from a pulpit, but you heard it here. I'm gonna save the Rosa Parks bench recap for just a minute. I also want to say today is communion. We're doing communion a little bit differently in these COVID times. We have 3 stations, one here, and then one in each corner. Each has bread, gluten-free bread, and juice. So we're going to kind of end our service with communion, and then you can partake of it as you wish following the service at one of these stations. So just please help yourself. And Wendy made our bread. It's fantastic. So enjoy some communion after the service. And if you're at home, go ahead and gather up some elements that can stand as communion for you. Want to share a couple. We'll save the joys for a second. Amy Valentino, my God, her friend's Caroline's daughter-in-law involved in a sledding accident and is paralyzed. So that is just awful. Wherever you are, there you are, Amy. She has a GoFundMe set up. So why don't you, Amy, can raise your hand if anyone wants to talk to Amy about that. That's just awful. Her name's Caroline. Okay, we'll keep Caroline in our hearts and prayers. Absolutely. What a tragedy. Also, I want to lift up some concerns here real quick. Barb Campbell, please hold Barb in your hearts and prayers. She is still in rehab at Meese after having COVID. She's getting her energy back very slowly and seems to be a lot more tired these days. So hold Barb in your hearts and prayers. And this one's a sad one. Helen Talenko, I got a call from her place at Grand Villa, and they said, I know you come see her, and you have a great relationship with Helen, you love her. We think she's declining fast. So Helen Talenko, she's been in the choir. She was the tambourine. She was our tambouriner, Remember we used to say, more tambourine, like more cowbell, And she's probably on her final day. So hold Helen, just a great lady, was a big part of the music program here, and just a gentle spirit. Hold her in your hearts and prayers. And also Rosemary Randall's son. Rosemary's at home with us, Rob. He had surgery on Thursday, and he's doing okay. That's for prostate cancer. And he's in Colorado, but he's still in the hospital. He's just not strong enough to get going yet. So hold Rob and Rosemary in heart and prayer. And also hold Robbie McIntosh. I don't know, was Robbie here today? Probably not. On the death of her husband, Jim, a week and a half ago. We've settled on February 20th, I think at 2 or 3 p.m. for a memorial service here for Jim McIntosh. Another just a great, gentle man that we will surely miss. So hold Robbie in your hearts and prayers and watch for more details to come on that memorial service. We got some joys. One joy here is that we collected 97 pounds of food last week for Dunedin Cares. Thank you, everyone. Remember, you can always bring your food in on Sundays. There's a pile over there. You can put it with your toilet paper, and you just grab your toilet paper under your arm, your food in your other, and come on to church, Make a deposit. So we're going to, I missed that screen. We're going to celebrate something now, and Fran, our moderator, has asked to say a few words to get us going on celebrating this momentous moment yesterday. It was such a beautiful day out there, and it has such a beautiful bench. It has so much meaning. Fran, I invite you up to come on up and tell us a little bit more.
Thank you, Mike. On behalf of the leadership team and everybody that was there yesterday, we want to thank you for two great events that this church had yesterday, celebrating our mission to delight God. First, to Anam Kara for their Together Women Rise. They had a program that celebrates or helps women in Nepal who are suffering from the psychological effects of sexual and gender-based violence. This was a program that helps women through art deal with the scars that they feel. What a wonderful project to support. In addition, as many of you were here yesterday, what a wonderful day. The leadership team and all of us thank the Racial Justice Core team, everybody who spoke. I don't want to leave anybody out, but Carl and Lee for your leadership of that team, for Victor and Wendy for your words that were so inspirational to all of us, and particularly to Jeff for this amazing work of art that we have. I know for many of us, our hearts were so full yesterday, and it gives me such great pride that this church is active in the world, is living out justice. And I want to thank everybody who was involved in all these programs and ask you to support our banned book library, which, as Mike said, I also bought the book Woke. The poetry is absolutely astounding. And what helpful words for young people who are trying to grow into understanding themselves in this world. So I hope you'll support that effort as well. And thanks to all for your programming yesterday.
Thank you, Fran, for those words. And yeah, it was yesterday, what you all pulled off, was amazing. The racial justice team, Jeff, your art, Wendy, your poem. Can't really see them up there. There's a plaque on the bottom. Betsy was instrumental in helping with that. And Beth Ann with hospitality. And then Wendy's poems at the top. You can go out and read those after the service. And maybe we'll get a towel going out there. We'll wipe that bench down, because if you didn't get to, you got to sit in it. You got to have your picture taken in it. I was here later last night, and I went out in the darkness and just sat in it, and it was so beautiful. It's such a peaceful place to sit, and it's so comfortable, Jeff. How'd you pull that off? I don't remember bus seats being that comfortable. So thank you for all that you did. And Missionary Shiloh Baptist was here yesterday, and I was able to read the dedication of the bench with Clem, their pastor, and so it's just, I think the whole day just felt like a magical moment. Carl did a great MC job leading us through it, and it's like you've done that before. It's amazing. Pastor. So we're gonna, go ahead, Betsy.
Can we also thank Beth Ann Van Migen for all the wonderful things that she did?
Yes, Beth Ann. Put on an amazing spread. She really did. Thank you, Beth Ann. And I think we still have some of that spread to enjoy today. So go ahead and get some of that and enjoy it, and go sit on that bench. Chuck and Pam, you want to come on up and make a special announcement before we're going to watch a video about the bench. Video first or no, please. Video after.
Okay. Is there a complaint department here? We thought we were in charge of hospitality. January 1, we came down with COVID, and so many of you provided us food. We had to put it in the freezer and it's just running over. So from the bottom of our hearts, we wanted to thank you. We're on the mend. Our energy's coming back. But you're a wonderful congregation, wonderful friends to us. So we just really want to thank you kindly.
And we are supposed to be providing hospitality today. And the reason we're providing it today is because this is the beginning of February. And we wanted to thank you all. And then we wanted to say that February is a special month for us. Maybe it is for some of you too. But we'll be married 57 years. On the 20th.
Whoa, that's a celebratory moment.
Did you hear that joyful moment? And also, I think a lot of you can respond to this. Oh, for years we wanted to have children and didn't think that we could. And it made us very sad. And so in the month of February, on the 13th, we were able to adopt our little boy. And that was a very joyous time because we had struggled with that. And then, guess what? Less than a year later, we had another child, a little girl who was born on February the 4th. So we continue, and there's many more February events, but Mike told me I couldn't tell you. But, because it would go on and on. But anyway, come and enjoy today, and let's celebrate together. And we thank you again for your kindness to us and your love. Okay?
Congratulations, Chuck and Pam. Such an amazing couple, and we're so blessed that you are here. So thank you. Enjoy that hospitality for all the things we have to celebrate. Right now, we're going to have a moment of centering, and it's going to be a video that Michael Stark put together for us. Thank you, Michael, about yesterday. So I hope you enjoy this video.
How to reach the masses in of every birth. For in answer, Jesus gave the key. Oh yeah, and if I be lifted up above the earth, he said I'll draw men unto me. All this world is hungry for the living bread.
Thank you, Michael Stark, for that trip down memory lane. That was the Shiloh Baptist Choir in the background, if you didn't figure that out. Singing amazing. It was just such a moving day. Thank you, everyone. And go sit on that bench after the service. Rain or shine, who cares? Get on out there. We got umbrellas. Hey, let's journey ever deeper now into this time of worship together with beautiful, classic, timeless classic, Precious Lord, Take My Hand.
Our first reading is from Exodus 3, 7 through 12, a story of liberation. Then the Lord said, I have observed the misery of my people who are in Egypt. I have heard their cry on account of their taskmasters. Indeed, I know their sufferings, and I have come down to deliver them from the Egyptians, and to bring them out of that land to a good and broad land, a land flowing with milk and honey, to the country of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The cry of the Israelites has now come to me. I have also seen how the Egyptians oppress them. So come, I will send you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? He said, I will be with you, and this shall be the sign for you that it is I who sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall worship God on this mountain. Our second reading is from Jeremiah 8, 18 through 22. A reading that asks, is there no balm in Gilead? I like that song. My joy is gone, grief is upon me, my heart is sick. Hark, the cry of my poor people from far and wide in the land. Is the Lord not in Zion? Is her king not in her? The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the hurt of my poor people I am hurt. I mourn, and dismay has taken hold of me.
A lot of ites in that first reading. Never dawned on me before. Ites. So I want to wish you, my friends, a blessed Black History Month. Month dedicated to celebrating the achievements of African Americans that are woven into the fabric of this nation. A month to tell stories of our sisters and brothers who have helped shape this nation in amazing ways. And a month to remember and be honest about the past, to teach our younger generations and all generations the reality of the original sin of this nation in slavery and segregation, so that we may not be doomed to repeat its ugliness. Especially this year, Black History Month reminds us that we can never be silent about the realities of our past, no matter how uncomfortable white folks get, especially. We are living in an age where, as I said earlier, it is becoming punishable to teach about the awfulness of slavery and segregation, right? We're living in an age where kids are being shielded from the realities of this nation in schools. We're living in an age when the walls of history are being whitewashed and Black history is being disappeared. And so we cannot let that happen. And we must hold, in the very least, February as 1 month to celebrate Black history, to remember the past, to lift up key figures of importance in American history, and to keep fighting our way forward beyond all the maddening legislative craziness that is trying to make Black history fade away. So speaking of Black history, yesterday, we talked a little bit about this, was such a banner day here. The installation of the Rosa Parks bench was a beautiful moment in the history, the entire history of this church. The bench, the poem, Wendy, the plaque to tell its story of the bravery of a woman who took a seat for justice will stand as a symbol here that we as a church will never give in to the hatred, to the violence, to the injustice around us, no matter how bad it gets. That bench reminds us of our painful past, yet it can inspire us to lift our eyes to a different kind of future, one that sees the equality of all people, equity for all people, one for the fullness of life for all people. And my hope is that it becomes integral, not only to us as a spiritual community, which I think it already has, but for the whole community overall, with people coming from all over the place to just to sit or to pray or to just reflect on it, to feel its power as something that's not just a bench. It's not just a bench, but a symbol of freedom and courage and hope. So another huge thank you to all of you who were involved in its creation and in its dedication, and a reminder to all of us to spread the word about our bench, telling people that there is a place in Dunedin where truth and courage will flourish in amazing, powerful ways, and a bench will lead the way. Amen. So last year, if you remember back, we experienced 4 sermons during Black History Month. We focused on 4 key figures and their history, and their vision of God was the focus. We journeyed into the lives of Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman and Maya Angelou and Hammer and Hank Aaron. You remember that one? See, it just recently died. That was fun. Well, this year will be similar, as we'll delve into Black history through the lives of a few folks that have shaped us in amazing ways, starting next week with Howard Thurman. Who in here knows who Howard Thurman is? Oh, that's good. Not many. I mean, that's not good that not many, but it's good for me to tell the story. You get what I'm saying? Because he's a cherished, mystical theologian who inspired the nonviolence of the civil rights movement in ways that most folks probably just don't know today. I love this man, and the more I learn about him, I cannot wait to share his story and his life. So that's what this month, the rest of this month is going to be about. For us today, though, given the amount of time and work that our music folks and our choir have been put into picking and singing some really special gospel music for this month, I was wondering how much of the history of this music, this special spiritual music, the spirituals especially, how much of this history do we understand, especially us white folks? So we're going to talk about music today. And I'm not talking about my loves of, say, the great Duke Ellington or Billie Holiday, or even my 2 all-time favorite history-altering jazz artists, Miles Davis and John Coltrane. Kind of Blue and Blue Train, if you've never heard those albums, you gotta go pick them up. I'm not talking about the soul-stirring music of, say, Sam Cooke or Otis Redding Jr., or Aretha Franklin, or who we heard yesterday, the Blind Boys of Alabama. Oh, they are wonderful. We heard them at the dedication. But instead, what I'm talking about is the music that moves us quite often within these walls in our worship services, songs that we find ourselves singing by heart or humming to or crying sometimes because of its depth and power when we hear it. I'm talking about music that a great deal of it is anonymous because it was not composed in the traditional manner that oftentimes music is in a studio or sitting at a piano or a coffee shop so often today, or even a bar. Now, this music began as yearnings from years of sweat and pain and toil in hot fields and in tiny shacks at night and along roads as pickaxes were swung in the heat of hot southern days. The music evolved in the midst of great oppression and evil, being nothing short of moments of hope in a world that tried to tell those singing these songs that there was no such thing for them, nor were they entitled to it. The music was often criminal music, because in many places it was illegal to sing it. Because to sing it was to do, you know what? Sing about freedom for those for which freedom was just a distant dream. The music I'm talking about today are what we call spirituals, African American spirituals, songs that arose from the tyranny and evil of the context of the great scourge of part of this nation's history and slavery. To me, these are the most important of songs. They are both at the same time authentically American and they're authentically African American. They're woven into the fabric of American history in profound ways, yet my fear is when we sing them, the context gets lost and we don't really understand their essence. And these are works of freedom in which the context and their essence are vital to not only understanding them and their origins, but letting them be vehicles of healing in our nation and in our world today. They are as deeply spiritual as anything could possibly be. And we should note that spirituals are woven into American history, again, more than any other musical movement. And Stan, this is really interesting. It's America's first musical movement in this country. Does that surprise you? First to authentically be American and come out of this country. To quote one scholar of spirituals, European classics, Anglo ballads, hymns, and Irish jigs dominated the American music for centuries. That all changed in the fields as slaves created songs of sorrow and hope to sustain them in the midst of the horrors and injustice of slavery. These songs were created and transformed through the experiences of 200 years of the institution of slavery and honed after the Civil War when slavery still raised its ugly head in other ways, end quote. So these songs were sung for the purpose of affirming humanity, an idea that was drummed into all slaves as something that they just did not possess. These songs were sung to affirm hope, to go on living when life seemed nothing but endless toil and violent chaos and, God, punishment and deprivation, horrors. Though reading was forbidden for all slaves, generally, as a rule, listening was not. So surely they heard hymns being sung in churches, and surely they heard texts like ours today of slaves of Egypt and the story of injustice and of God's liberation strangely being read from these big white pulpits by powerful white slave owners. And they heard about this God. They heard about this God through the scriptures like ours today, this strange God that hears not the prayers of the rich and the powerful, but the cry of the oppressed. And they heard about how this God delivered them to freedom, and they heard about Moses leading the Israelites to freedom, and they heard about God hearing the cry of the poor in a distant land, and about God's broken heart in the midst of oppression, about God asking, is there no balm? Is there no healing balm in Gilead? And lamenting that the people's health, their wholeness has not been restored. Surely they heard over time about these great figures who experienced liberation or were liberators, David and Samson and Joshua and Moses, and of course this guy named Jesus. Jesus! You ever heard him? Jesus! I'm sure that's how it sounded come some of those old churches too. Jesus! And they wondered, no doubt, how long until our liberation? When they heard these stories, how long would our oppression be allowed to triumph? How long until our liberation? And from these stories and the real life experiences of the horrors of slavery came the spiritual's driving force, a strong belief in the inevitability of God's redemption in their lives and in their world. These are powerful songs of hope and redemption, sang through the lens of a powerful and trusting faith. And you're going to hear a bunch of them this month. But these songs are so much more. We should also note that spirituals are multi-layered, evolving quickly to contain a practical component to them, other than only expressions of redemption and hope, or joy, kind of like the one we opened up with. That's a spiritual every time I hear the Spirit. There's considerable evidence that the spirituals were used as secret codes of communication when they were sung. This is why it was at various times in history illegal to sing the music, because they were secret codes of communication. It was considered a criminal act then to spread information that way through singing. Take, for example, Follow the Drinking Gourd. You all know that song? Listen to the words. When the sun comes back, I'm not going to sing it for you, because God forbid. That would dishonor the spirituals in amazing ways if I sung this song. Dogs would be howling all over Dunedin. When the sun comes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. The riverbank will make a mighty good road, and dead trees show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, traveling on, follow the drinking gourd. The song isn't just a song, but it's thought to have been a kind of map for escaped slaves to follow to lead them out of slave territory. It's believed widely that the drinking gourd refers to the Big Dipper, the pointer to the North Star. This is nothing short of a song written about escaping to freedom. The words are coded language. Or take another one that we sing here all the time, and maybe you can even sing this one with me. It's called Let Us Break Bread Together on Our Knees. Do you all know that one? Do you want to try and sing the first verse with me? Let us break bread together on our knees. Let us break bread together on our knees. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me. Now we sing this as a communion hymn, but in actuality it was a coded call for a secret meeting. A gathering will be held in the morning at sunrise, as the words "with my face to the rising sun" indicate to us. The meetings at sunrise could have been to plan an escape or discuss issues of concern or simply to pass on news or even just to gather and pray. But often it was coded, hidden language. One of the most powerful spirituals, and you all know, is "Steal Away," right? Oh, yeah. Song that means not only to steal away to Jesus, but also serves as an instruction on when to run away. The lines of the hymn are again coded. My God calls me, he calls me by the thunder, or he calls me when the green trees are a-bending, or during the lightning. Each reference to escaping likely to an underground railroad, either during the next storm or even code for spring or summer with the leafy green trees bending again in the breeze, right? Something, freedom perhaps, was in the air. And the song allowed that to be communicated. And of course, there's that haunting line in the refrain. You all know that one. I ain't got long to stay here. I ain't got long to stay here. Surely, freedom, or an attempt at freedom, was soon to be at hand. Finally, one of the most amazing of the spirituals is Wade in the Water. You know that one, right? It's a song of instruction that teaches more than anything else that when one has escaped, don't hug the shore. Don't hug the shore. Don't walk along the streams, but wade in the water. Wade in the water so there is no trace of you for them to chase. No footprint, no scent for those god-awful dogs to track down. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's going to trouble the water. That last line refers to a scripture text in the Gospel of John about what was called the pool at Bethesda. It was a place where many of the most struggling of people would go, and they would wait for healing and for wholeness or for freedom from what ailed them. So when God would stir up or trouble the water, freedom, healing, or victory over oppression was soon to be at hand. So wade in the water. Wade in the water. Leave no trace. Wade in the water. Freedom is close at hand. There's so much power to these hymns that we sing or that the choir sings for us, like the one you're going to do in just a second, Mary, Don't You Weep. It's a song that's based on the story of Mary weeping at the death of her beloved brother Lazarus. Could be Mary as well, a mother of Jesus. They're both intermingled there. You remember when Jesus rose Lazarus and Mary was just weeping there. So you know that story. And it also draws on the drowning of the oppressive Pharaoh's army and as the Israelites were escaping to freedom. According to a spiritual source I was reading, it says, "Oh, Mary, don't you weep." Mary, Don't You Weep is one of the ethereal African-American spirituals, a freedom song born in the anonymity of slavery and drifted across time to bubble up as the need arose. This is interesting for you, Brian. The song might have been lost to the ages had it not been resurrected by the Fisk University Jubilee Singers of Nashville, Tennessee in 1915. Think of how many songs are lost to us. Many. But bubble up as the need arose. I love that. That's the power of these special songs and why we need to understand the history that they were born from. They're deeply sacred, born from pain, and they are deeply African American. And while I'll be honest, I feel conflicted at times. As a white guy, describing their history, because they're so authentically African American, you know? So I often wonder if I even have the right to sing these songs. Do I have that right? But I also see the healing and the telling the stories about them that can change our world for the better. So then I'm okay with it in that sense. But we have to recognize we're all connected to these stories, these songs, and these stories in one way or another, either as oppressed or as oppressor. So the hope is that they can stand to remind us that God's vision of the world is one where there's neither oppressed nor oppressor, right? Where equality and love and respect and equity reign supreme, and where songs born in such pain will never, ever have to be sung again. So they have so much to remind us of, to inspire us in times when we need it, and to bubble up in those times as they are needed. But as a predominantly white church for now, we're going to change that, right? We're going multicultural on this, absolutely. Multiracial has to be one of our biggest goals. And you can hear more about that with Howard Thurman next week, because he was way ahead of his time on that. But for now, for us, if we were going to sing them, we should honor their history and where they came from, for the sake of never going back there again. And there's a real scholarly debate out there, especially from some very excellent black scholars, that say white churches should not sing spirituals. It's a hot debate in the world right now. But and I can see the point when you've got a church that's advocating against taking away voting rights, say, and then they're singing "Wade in the Water," you know. That's or trying to whitewash history and singing "Steal Away," you know, or "Let us break bread together" on their knees. So I understand that, I do, but I think we want to honor them as well, and that's what we do here when we sing them. But I just want you all to know the history so that we can sing them authentically. All right, enough words for me. Let's get lost in the sounds of our choir singing a song of hope, born from a particular context in which it was deeply needed. But in closing, I really hope you'll find great meaning in this month of celebrating Black history. And I do hope you'll spend some time on the Rosa Parks bench, maybe reflect on some of the music you'll hear today, or you'll hear this month when you sit on it, and thank God for the heroes and the heroines in our world that sing for peace and freedom, or that take a seat for what is right. Amen, my friends, and take it away, choir.
As an aside to spirituals, and to go along with what Mike had to say, and the way things were used in code, many of the most famous Black hymns that we know were written only on the black keys of the piano. They did not use the white keys, and they were able to come up with amazing melodies like Amazing Grace, only on the black keys of the piano.
Tell
You get a lot of that this month. Get ready. We come to our time of communion. If it's the first Sunday of the month, we are celebrating communion. And again, we have 3 stations set up, so we're not all cramming together. And so if your communion is particularly of a special to you and of interest to you, you have a station up here and one in the back corner of each. Until we get over these crazy COVID times, we can get back to coming forward and hugging, and I can't wait for those days, my God. Are we almost there? If you're online with us, I hope you'll get your communion elements as well and join in our litany. However we do communion, one thing is always central, and that is that all are welcome. There should never be a closed table for communion. That's not the Jesus way in any way, and that's definitely not the way here. So all are welcome. So please hit one of the stations on your way out the door. Sounds so bad. But again, all are welcome. I wonder if you'll join me as we go through this communion litany. We come together at this table of remembrance with all of our differences, with all the various stories we have to tell. Our differences make us stronger when we realize that the thing we share is that we experience God, the essence of life, the spirit of mystery, somewhere in our lives and our encounters with and in the world. Will you join me? In gratitude, we remember the Spirit of Jesus, his words, his deeds, his pathway to living. In gratitude, we remember the friends who have shared and will share our experiences of the wonders of our world. In gratitude, we remember those who deserve our compassion and help, and the creative energy of God which impels that compassion. May this gratitude extend to action to make the world a better place to live, action to help our neighbors as well as strangers, action to bring into consciousness the spirit of life, the hope of peace, the source of all. Let us share this bread and this fruit of the earth as we share the fruit of the Spirit, as Jesus shared bread and fruits with his disciples and friends. Today, as we gather for communion in this sacred place, we do so remembering how Jesus ate with his friends many times. And they would eat and they would talk, often asking questions and wondering about God. And on the last night together, after their conversation at the table, Jesus took bread and he blessed it and he broke it and he shared it with his friends, saying, "Take and eat. This is my body, which is given for you. Do this, remembering me." Then Jesus took a simple cup of wine, gave thanks, and he passed it to his disciples, saying, "Drink this, all of you. This is the cup of the new covenant of love. Whenever you drink of this cup, do so remembering me." I wonder if you'll join me in a moment of a little more centering in prayer. Remembering the life and way of Jesus in this time of communion. Our hope this day is that we might more fully sense the fullness of your mystery, O God, and your Spirit upon us and within us, and of course upon and within these elements of life. And may we stand blessed in our eating and drinking at this table. May our eyes be open to the Spirit and hope of the one we call the Christ within the world, in our very midst, and always in one another. Through this meal and through this special day of celebrating communion, may we become more fully the church, a hope and sign of renewal in a hurting world. As we gather today, we invoke your Spirit, O God, that resides at the core of each one of us in the heart of this community, as we celebrate communion in remembrance of the life and path of compassion that Jesus lived and therefore that calls us to. May we walk this path with conviction, advocating for peace and wholeness and justice in our community, in our country, and all around us in this great diverse world where it always seems more division and racism and anti-Semitism and other evils are raising their dangerous heads and stoking new fears and anxiety. May we learn new ways to come together, to rediscover our common humanity, begin to see ourselves as one. For our world, O God, we pray this day. We lift our prayers not only for the community, our nation, and our world, but also hold space for ourselves and those whom we love, for healing and wholeness in times of illness and grief or addiction or depression, other issues and ills that keep us from feeling whole. We hold sacred space for all that who are struggling this day in mind and body or spirit, and to all those that we lifted up in our newsletter or during our service today, and of course all those that we hold in the silence of our hearts in this moment. May a strong sense, O God, of your eternal now hold all of us and those we love in the most difficult of times. Let's now join our voices, my friends, in that ancient prayer that Jesus will teach us from those hillsides long ago. We call it the Lord's Prayer, and I invite you to choose your most cherished image, whether that's Father, Mother, or Creator. Will you join me in the Lord's Prayer? Our Creator, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And again, I invite you after our service to please partake in communion, maybe around the table, make a new friend, greet a stranger. Just make it a special moment as Jesus would have made all of his. He didn't do this just once, he did this all the time. So make it a special occasion of celebrating one another and the Spirit of Christ that burns in us all. Hey, I want to thank you, as always, for your giving. You're such a generous congregation. My God, we saw that yesterday. All of you gave so much of your time and money and talent to put that on, that great event. And you all give so much through your giving, whether it be your time or your talent or your treasure. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are visiting with us or if you're just here and you got big stacks of cash in your pocket, as we always say, and they're pulling your pants down, keep pulling them up because you got wads of cash in there, and you're like, I want somewhere to donate this to. Well, this is your place. So you can make an offer. Oh, there's no plate. We'll get the plates on the back tables there. So please feel free to make a love offering for all of the work that we do together. It's such an honor to be a part of this spiritual community. It really is. And, we've been down, we've been in the valley, but we're coming back. And I think we're going to emerge from these COVID times stronger than we have ever been before. And you all and a bench lead the way. So I wish you a blessed week, my friends. We're going to sing our way out of here in just a second. I wanted to dedicate the song today to Helen Talenko, our final song. We'll see if we sing it next week, if Helen is still with us. But she loved this song. It was the heartbeat of her week. So we dedicate our song, Let There Be Peace on Earth, and let it begin with us, to Helen Talenko. But before that, I wish you a blessed week. Hope you have a fantastic, wonderful week. Celebrate some Black history this month in many ways, powerful ways. Read some Black authors. Just celebrate just amazing people that have shaped this nation in such profound ways. And of course, sit on that bench and have yourself a moment. Let's rise up in body or spirit, my friends. Dedicate this to Helen Talenko. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with us.
Peace that was meant
Go in peace, everyone. Love one another, serve our God, and a happy Black History Month. Amen.